There are three ways of playing Heroes of Might and Magic 2 on modern tech. There's the easy way, the best way, and the most interesting way, with one of them having an extra bonus. So let's look at them. By far the easiest way of playing Heroes of Might and Magic 2 on modern systems is getting it from GOG. It's a game from 1996, it usually doesn't cost that much, and it costs even less when on sale. Now, if you don't want to give any of your money to the publisher, there's a way around it, but this video isn't about that. Installation is pretty straightforward, whether you do it from GOG Galaxy or you already somehow have the installation kit on your computer. Some cool things you should be aware of with the GOG version is that in the extras section on Galaxy, you can find a lot of really cool goodies, including the absolutely stellar soundtrack in MP3 and FLAC formats. And when you click this setting button to the right of the play button, you have a bunch of things to choose from, and you should focus on that first one, additional executables, because this is where you can run the graphic mode setup, where you can fidget with some settings to better customize your viewing experience. Make sure to click on save settings though, because otherwise your changes won't take hold. This option is available for many other games on GOG, so make sure to look for it. Other than these two things, once it's installed in your directory of choice, just run the game and DOSBox will ask you what to do, just press 1 and you'll be on your way. There's also a Windows install version in the extras, if you remember, so if the DOSBox version gives you grief, try that one. Mine is windowed and in this weird resolution because of my streaming settings. The best way of playing Heroes of Might and Magic 2 on modern systems though is to use a fan-made recreation called F-Heroes 2, also known as Heroes 2 Resurrection. You can simply search for F-Heroes 2 on Google and go to this address, since this is where you'll find the most user-friendly directions on installing it, but I'll quickly go through the basics. Scroll down to the Windows installer and choose whichever version format you're running. I'm running Windows 10, so it's a 64-bit version I need. Run the installer into a folder of your choice. If Windows gives you this warning, just tell it to run the thing anyway, and the installer will then do its job. Once it ends, if you try to run the executable, you'll get this error, because the recreation needs the original game files in order to work. You can use either the demo version or a full version of the game, and the people behind this recreation made that transferring process extra easy, offering two different .bat applications which will look for your files and transfer them. In my case, it saw the GOG version and started copying. You'll have to wait a while for the files to be copied, but everything should work fairly fine by this stage, and once the prompts tell you everything is good to go, you can start up F-Heroes 2. You'll notice differences from the default version right from the menu screen and options, the game booting up in a much higher resolution and offering this config option where you get a ginormous amount of resolutions to choose from. Once you start the game, you'll continue noticing many minor and not so minor changes and improvements to the game, ranging from smoother animations to a lot of extra information being displayed now. For instance, in this case, letting you know how many XP points you need to level. There are a veritable metric fuck ton of tweaks and extra quality of life features added by the team behind F-Heroes 2, and those might require a separate video at a certain point. But rest assured that coming from a massive fan of this title, and I am one, and am on record saying how it is my favorite of the entire series, Heroes of Might and Magic 2 is an iconic title for me and for many more gaming enthusiasts who have been playing games for more than 2 decades. It's the first thing I think about when the series is brought up, and while its successor is objectively a better game, it cannot surpass Heroes 2 in my book. Whenever I play Heroes 2 nowadays, this is the option I use. Time for the bonus extra. There's a proper Android version for those of you who want their Heroes 2 on their Android device. So let's get that one working. Go to the Google Play Store and search for F-Heroes 2. Install it. Once you run it, it'll also need the original game files. And this is where things are a bit different, because the Android version needs the files in a .zip format. So you'll need to archive your Heroes 2 folder and then transfer the archive to your Android's download folder. Once it's there, you can run the F-Heroes 2 app, which will ask for the files, you point it to where they are, wait a bit, and then you'll be ready to play Heroes of Might and Magic 2 on your Android on the go. Now, if like me, you're asking yourself, how did they approach combat and especially attacking, since on the PC you can move your mouse around to change the angle of attack? Well, in the mobile version you need to double tap with either spells or attacks to make them happen. So you can move around your little sword cursor till you get your desired angle and then tap again to attack. We did the easiest and best ways of playing Heroes of Might and Magic 2 on modern tech. It's time for the third option, which is the most interesting way, and that's because it requires some extra steps to get going, but it is worth it. So this method actually starts with Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and you'll need a clean, meaning unmodded version of either Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Shadow of Death or Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Complete. So let's do that first. I have Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Complete, again from GOG. We install it, and once it's done, we need to search for a mod called Succession Wars. Google will do fine, and going to ModDB is just as good as any other place. Here you can read about the mod, patch notes and such, but to get it, you need to click on the files and download the latest version. Once that's done, you have to run it. Just tell Windows to run it anyway, and it will ask you for the Heroes 3 install directory. All you have to do is point it there and it'll do the rest, and now you can start the game. You'll notice some interesting weird things from the start, meaning that this is the Heroes 2 screen, but many of the gameplay options are from Heroes 3. Once you start the game, you'll find the wonderful pixel art graphics, factions and assets from Heroes 2 with a bunch of new stuff added to them, but there are several Heroes 3 things present as well. For instance, your hero inventory screen now looks and works like the one from Heroes 3. And in general, the gameplay experience feels really fresh. That said, this mod is only relatively stable, which means you'll want to save fairly often, because in my experience it tends to crash every couple of hours or so, like it just did here, but your experiences may vary. Once you have this mod running, you can now apply the Heroes 3 HD mod on top of it to get bigger resolutions, but more about modding Heroes 3 in a future video perhaps. These were the 3 main ways of playing Heroes of Might and Magic 2 on modern devices. I hope you found it informative, and if you did, then you might be interested in this other video on screen right now. I've been Stephen Ansons, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.